I can nearly guarantee that the reason your videos aren't performing is because you have bad hooks. Hooks are the #1 factor in why a video performs well or not, but most people just don't put enough time into them. Put yourself in your audience's shoes. You're scrolling through content on your downtime and most of the content is just average, so you skip it. Then, finally, they come across your video and you have some really dope information to share that might change their life. But unfortunately, they won't find out because they scroll before they even see the first 5 seconds of the video. Now, say this happens 100 times in a row. Well, the algorithm's going to take notice and it's not going to show your video to more people. But see, it's not the algorithm's fault. It's just doing its job, which is making sure people don't get bored and leave the platform. But let's say you reverse this and you get 100 people to stop or even scroll back to your video. Well, now the algorithm is going to show it to 1,000 more people, then maybe 10,000, then 20,000 and 100,000 and so on and so forth. This is the exact process that allowed me to gain 100,000 followers in just 6 months and help my clients collectively gain over 50 million views in the last 4 months. And today, I'm gonna show you how we've been able to do that so that you can copy my system and use it for yourself to supercharge your hooks. So first question, what makes a good hook anyways? Well, there's actually 3 different factors that I'm going to get into. But first, I want to show you what a bad hook looks like so that you have a good understanding. Hey guys, something pretty cool happened to me. I actually just got approached by a brand and I made my first $1,000 on social media. Now, there's a lot wrong with this, but the main sin I committed was not inspiring curiosity, or at least not doing it fast enough. All good hooks inspire curiosity, and the quicker you do it, the better. That's what most people miss. People don't care about you. Why should they? You're a stranger. No, what they care about is what you can offer them. And they don't have time to wait 10 seconds to see what every stranger on the internet can offer them. No, they need to know almost immediately what the value is that you provide. The video I just showed you didn't do that at all. In fact, I would say I wasted the viewer's time by not getting straight to the point. But there's a lot of other missed opportunities that I had in that video, and that comes down to those 3 factors that I told you about, which I'm going to get into right now. Those 3 factors are what I call the 3 V's. The 3 V's are 3 types of hooks that represent reasons why people should stay and watch your video. And it's a term coined by yours truly. Those 3 V's are verbal hooks, visual hooks, and value hooks. If you can successfully include just one of those in your videos, you've greatly increased your chances of going viral. But if you can include 2 or more in those, well, then you have a really good chance of going viral. In fact, I'd say it's almost impossible that you wouldn't if you did them correctly. The key is that you have to have one of these types of hooks in the first 3 to 5 seconds. That's all the time you have. If you don't do that, I'm sorry to say, but you've already lost. See, with the bad hook that I showed you before, I didn't include any of those, and I really could have easily in the first 3 to 5 seconds. And I would say the verbal hook is the easiest that we can add as a solution. So we're gonna start here and improve it so that we can see what it looks like when we take something really terrible and turn it into something that's actually viable to go viral. Verbal hooks are hooks that catch your attention through the power of words. Now, I say verbal, but it can also be written. I just use verbal because it goes with the 3 V's. But if you write it, as long as it's on the screen and not in the caption below, it's still a verbal hook. So in contrast to what I did, let's take a look at someone who actually used a really good verbal hook.
Why is nobody talking about how easy it is to make money on Etsy right now? I made over $1,000 this month.
This works because he starts with a solid hook format that produces a lot of curiosity. Why is nobody talking about X is a great hook format because it alludes to rare knowledge. Then he gives more context by saying how easy it is to make money on Etsy right now. Because there's actually 2 things that work in verbal hooks: curiosity and context. You could say something confusing and vague and it might create curiosity, but most times people will just skip. That's because without context on what we're even talking about, it leads to confusion, and confusion leads to scrolling on by. Remember, confusion is not curiosity. So by giving context that we're talking about making money on Etsy, he can attract all of the creative entrepreneurs, and he gives them a sense of curiosity on how he's going to do that. So what can I steal from this hook that I can use for my currently terrible hook. Let's try this. Nobody wants to admit this, but making your first $1,000 on Instagram is easier than you think. All right, that's very simple, but it does inspire curiosity and it does give you context. That's a lot better than my boring and more selfish hook that I had before, which means that we're definitely on the right track. Now, verbal hooks can be very powerful, and we're gonna get into the other ones next, but first, I want to show you how you should be thinking about this process. When I first start working with creators, the first thing we fix is their hooks, and the verbal hooks are usually an easy layup that creates a big breakthrough for them. I've seen it over and over again. Someone is posting consistently and they're doing everything right, seemingly, but they don't have the hooks right. So we tweak their hooks a little bit and voila, they start seeing crazy success from just that one tiny tweak. That's exactly what we do inside of my community. Each week, we focus on different parts of the content formula and on your hooks, and I help you apply them in our calls. Within weeks, our clients start seeing real traction, real followers, real growth, and they start seeing a momentum that actually lasts. So if you're ready to grow fast and feel confident in your content, click the link below to learn more in the description. Now on to the next hook. So with the verbal hook sounding a lot better, we're in pretty good shape. But remember what I said about stacking hooks on top of each other. One hook is great, but two hooks can really take it to the next level. So the next thing we can add to this is a visual hook to grab even more attention. Think of it this way. You can capture a lot of attention with words, but some people are a lot more visually motivated. So you can literally double the amount of people you reach just by having a really solid visual in the first 5 seconds. There's plenty of ways to do this, from editing, design, or even the clothes you wear or the setting that you have. But the main goal here is to make the frame more interesting. Think of it like the packaging for your video. Products with better packaging sell better than products with bad packaging, even when they're not as good of quality. A lot of people think this means they have to do something absolutely crazy, but it doesn't even need to be that difficult. Take a look at this video, which has a really simple but very applicable visual hook.
Quick question from a psychologist. If you spoke to your friends the way you speak to yourself.
Super simple hook, just her sliding into frame and pouring tea. But that simple hook got her over 7 million views. And that's a lot even for this big creator. So how can I do something similar for my own video? Because personally, I'm not much of a tea drinker. Well, let me try to use coffee instead and try to have me slide in frame with it to add some movement. And I'm gonna add something else. I'm gonna add a little editing effect behind me to make it pop even more. Nobody wants to admit this, but making your first $1,000 from Instagram is easier than you think. Now, that looks pretty good, and I think something like that would actually get quite a bit of views. So now that we have two different hooks stacked on top of each other, that's actually enough for us to 10x our views. But I want to take this to the next level and maybe even 1,000 times our views. That's where the value hook is going to come in. Value hooks are just what they sound like. They hook your attention by quickly telling you the value that you're going to get from the video. This works great for the logical side of the brain, because even with a good visual and verbal hook, people still might need justification to continue watching your video. They're used to seeing clickbaity and useless content. Value hooks let them know that you're not that. You've actually got something that's valuable for them. Now, this is a bit tricky to nail down because a lot of people confuse them with the verbal hooks, but the difference is in how specific you get. Take a look at this great hook from my friend JC.
An acai bowl can cost $12 in store, so this is how much it costs to make one at home.
See, with this video, he starts with a great verbal hook by saying this acai bowl costs $12 in store. That's a great verbal hook that states a fact, but it's not a value hook because it's not explicitly telling you the value that you're getting from the video. But then he follows with this is how much it costs to make it at home. That's the value hook, because now you know this video is going to tell you how to make something at home and how to do it cheaply. Value hooks work great when they're stacked like this on top of another type of hook. And they have really, really good chance of getting you high video retention. Because if you actually know the value that you're gonna get by the end of the video, you're a lot more willing to watch the entire video. So let's see how we can add a value hook to my own video so that we can take it all the way to the moon. Let's try this. Nobody wants to admit this, but making your first $1,000 from Instagram is easier than you think. And I'm gonna show you exactly how in 60 seconds or less. Now that works as a value hook because it's letting them know that I'm saving them time. They're not gonna have to spend hours learning this. In just 1 minute, they can learn all they need. Now, I can talk about hooks for hours because there's actually some really great insights that I found about them and just about content in general. But due to the nature of YouTube, not all of these topics would make great videos, even though they are great knowledge. So I would encourage you to join my free newsletter where I give great insights on what I learn about content in the moment, and you can get them earlier than what I do with YouTube. Plus, you can get all the juicy secrets that just aren't really meant for YouTube. Honestly, it's been really fun to write and hear back from you guys, so I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the club. Keep practicing your hooks and try to stack them whenever you can. Don't expect to get it perfect the first time. In fact, you should expect not to get it perfect. But if you stay consistent with it, you will start to see growth faster than you thought you would. Make sure to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel. Keep creating, keep doing your thing, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.